They say a person's home is their castle, but I never realized my own castle was under siege until I heard my daughter-in-law Vanessa whisper the word dementia into my son's ear while I was standing right behind the kitchen door. My name is Eleanor, and at 74 years old, I've learned that the people you let into your heart are often the ones who know exactly where to twist the knife. For 3 years, I welcomed Vanessa into this family with open arms. I gave her my mother's pearls, I shared my secret recipes, and I treated her like the daughter I never had. But to Vanessa, I wasn't a mother-in-law. I was a landlord who was living in her future real estate. You see, this house sits on 3 acres of prime coastal land. It's worth a fortune, and Vanessa has always had an appetite for a lifestyle that my son's salary could quite provide. The gaslighting started small. It was so subtle that for a moment, I actually questioned my own sanity. It began with the keys. I always keep them on the hook by the door. One afternoon they were gone. I searched for an hour, growing more frustrated by the second. When Vanessa found them, they were in the refrigerator. She looked at me with this exaggerated, pitying pout and said, "Oh, Eleanor, are you feeling okay? Maybe we should start writing things down." I knew I hadn't put those keys in the fridge. I'm old, but I'm not a fool. Then came the stove. I'd walk into the kitchen to find a burner glowing red hot, even though I hadn't cooked anything all day. Vanessa would rush in, gasping, "Oh my God, the house could have burned down. Leo, we talked about this. She's becoming a danger to herself. My son Leo is a good man, but he's soft. He hates conflict, and he loves his wife." I could see the fear growing in his eyes, not fear of me, but fear for me. Vanessa was feeding that fear every single day, planting seeds of doubt until they started to bloom into a plan. I realized just how deep the rot went when I found a folder hidden under a stack of magazines in the guest room. It was filled with brochures for Sunset Palms, a high-security memory care facility 200 miles away. Tucked inside was a draft for a power of attorney and a realtor's business card with a sticky note that read, "Eleanor's house target listing price, 1.2 million. That was the moment the sadness turned into a cold, hard rage. They wanted my home. They wanted to lock me away in a room that smelled like industrial bleach, so they could spend my husband's hard-earned money on a designer life. Well, Vanessa wanted a show, so I decided to give her the performance of a lifetime. I didn't confront her. I didn't cry. Instead, I started playing the part she'd written for me. I started forgetting names. I'd call Leo by his father's name. I'd stare blankly at the wall for minutes at a time. I watched Vanessa's eyes light up with predatory glee every time I tripped over a sentence. She thought she was winning. She thought the finish line was in sight. But while she was busy moving my furniture around to confuse me, I was busy installing a very sophisticated, very tiny set of cameras and microphones throughout the common areas of the house. I'm a retired librarian, dear. I know how to do research. I spent my evenings learning about digital surveillance and hidden recording apps. I also made a very important phone call to my old friend Arthur, who happens to be the most ruthless estate attorney in the state. We spent a week preparing a very special dinner for the family. The night of the big reveal was our monthly family Sunday roast. I made sure the house smelled like rosemary and garlic, a warm, inviting trap. Vanessa arrived looking radiant, already acting like the mistress of the house. She brought a bottle of expensive wine, likely bought with the credit card my son is still paying off. As we sat down at the mahogany table, the same table where I'd helped Leo with his homework 30 years ago, Vanessa decided it was time to make her move. She looked at Leo and squeezed his hand, her eyes shimmering with fake tears. "Leo, honey," she started, her voice trembling with manufactured concern. "I think we need to have the talk. Tonight it was bad." Eleanor tried to put her shoes in the oven earlier. I think Sunset Palms is the only way to keep her safe. We have to do it for her, Leo, before something terrible happens. Leo looked like he wanted to disappear. Mom, is it true? The shoes? I didn't answer right away. I let the silence hang in the air, thick and heavy. I looked at Vanessa, who gave me a look of pure, triumphant malice when Leo wasn't looking. She leaned in and whispered, just loud enough for me to hear, "It's over, Eleanor. Give it up." I smiled. It wasn't the smile of a confused old woman. It was the smile of a predator who had just felt the trap snap shut. "You know, Vanessa," I said, my voice as clear and sharp as a bell. I was worried about my memory too. So worried that I decided to document everything. I wanted to see exactly how I was losing my mind. I pulled my tablet from under my chair and set it on the table. Vanessa's face went from smug to pale in 3 seconds. I hit play on a video from 3 nights ago. The footage was crystal clear. It showed Vanessa walking into the kitchen at 2 in the morning, taking my keys from the hook and placing them inside the refrigerator. Then, it showed her turning on the stove burner and walking away with a smirk. The next clip was even better. It was an audio recording from the living room. Vanessa was on the phone with her mother, laughing about how the old bat is finally cracking, and how she couldn't wait to tear down my rose garden to put in a lap pool once the house sold. The silence that followed was deafening. Leo stared at the screen, his mouth hanging open. He looked at the video, then at the burner, then at his wife. It was like watching a man wake up from a deep, dark trance. "Vanessa," he whispered. It wasn't a question. It was a realization. "Leo, I can explain. She's manipulative. She set me up." Vanessa shrieked, her voice hitting a pitch that could shatter glass. She looked at me, her face contorted with a hatred that was finally out in the open. "You miserable old hag. You think you've won? You're still a burden. You're still alone." "Actually," I said, taking a calm sip of my wine, "I'm not alone at all." "Arthur?" Arthur stepped out from the library, holding a briefcase. He's a tall, intimidating man who doesn't believe in small talk. "Good evening," he said. "Vanessa, I have here a formal restraining order and a notice of eviction. Since this house is held in a private trust that you have no legal claim to, you have exactly 1 hour to pack a suitcase and leave. My associates are waiting outside to escort you. If you ever attempt to contact Eleanor again, or if you ever set foot on this property, you will be facing criminal charges for elder abuse and harassment." Leo was sobbing now, his head in his hands. I went to him and rubbed his back, the way I used to when he was a boy. "I'm so sorry, Leo," I whispered. "I had to let you see who she really was. I couldn't let her take our home." Vanessa didn't go quietly. She screamed, she cursed. She broke a vase on her way out. But as the tail lights of her car faded down the driveway, the house felt lighter than it had in years. The air felt cleaner. My castle was safe. Leo stayed with me that night. We sat on the porch and talked until the sun came up. He apologized 1,000 times, but I told him that gaslighting is a powerful weapon, and even the strongest men can be blinded by it. He's filing for divorce on Monday. He's going to stay in the guest room for a while, and we're going to work on healing this family. To anyone watching this who has a Vanessa in their life, don't let them make you feel small. Don't let them tell you that your mind is failing just because you've reached a certain age. Your wisdom is your greatest defense, and your legacy is worth fighting for. They think we're easy targets because we're old, but they forget that we've had a lifetime of practice at spotting a liar. If someone tries to spill your life out from under you, make sure you're the one who controls the narrative. This has been another story from Spilled at Dinner. Remember, the truth might be bitter, but it's the only thing that will keep you free.